Welcome in, college football fans. Hey, it's another episode of the Fan Addict Top 25, man. That's right, the Fan Addict Top 25. This is our third installment, man. Y'all know if y'all college football fans, y'all paid attention to the CFP rankings that came out. After we drop our top 25, we will see where we differ from the CFP and then talk about it, man. And as always, man, if you're new to the channel, man, go ahead and hit that like button, man, on the video. Support the content for free, that is. And then share it with your people, man. Subscribe to the channel because we talk college football all the time, man. We got other shows such as Chuck and Buckets that talk NBA basketball. We're just an all-around sports channel. So make sure you join in and take part in the sports talk, man. But let's go ahead and get into it.
No, I got you on this one, Coach. It ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The fanatic. Where we keep it 100, keep it real. That's the only way we know how to be. Talking that sports talk. You know what I'm saying? Straight out of South Carolina. Upstate, A64. Yeah. PFANATTIC. The fanatic, where we keep it OG. We talking sports, so I call.
What's going on, Stat Guy, man? We here for the third installment of the Fan Addict Sports Top 10, man. What's going on with you tonight?
Hey, man, just glad to be back and live and in action, you know what I'm saying? Back to be on the show with my boy, getting to talk some college football.
That's right, man. And we should be joined by our guy, Jason from Hall of Fame College Football later on. But we're going to go ahead and get it talking. Hey, my guy, Stephen G. Hey, man, listen, man, Stephen G is special to the channel, man. He's always supporting, just like my guy, Mike Wilkerson is in the building. Steve B as well, man. We already up in here. Y'all know what time it is, man. We're here to talk college football top 25 for the Fan Addict. You guys saw the CFP rankings yesterday. And we'll talk about whether you agree with their rankings as well as my rankings, man. But before we get started, if you are going to go to a game, man, and you need to purchase tickets, why not purchase tickets on SeatGeek, man? If you go to SeatGeek, SeatGeek sponsors the channel, man. Listen, use the code FanAddictSports right there. Use the code FanAddictSports to get $20 off your first ticket purchase. If you're going to the game, why not go ahead and get that discount, man? Stat Guy, you ready for these this top 25, man, to see how we differ or is the same from, you know what I'm saying, the actual college football playoff?
Yeah, man, let's jump into it and see what you're about this week.
Bet it up. All right, here we go, man. Here we go. Getting into it, man. Listen, man, just to talk about this 21 through 25, man. North Carolina started out hot, you know what I'm saying? They were 6-0. You know, they've dropped 2 in a row, man. With Stat Guy, you have some thoughts on that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I said it on the show last week after they dropped the first one. It's like, this is just like looking in a mirror for them after last year, dropping the games they did down the stretch. They have to find a way to right the ship this week and pull the e-brake, because right now they are falling off a cliff.
Man, for real. Kansas State is up in the top 25 again. Oklahoma State makes their first appearance in our top 25. Oklahoma State started off shaky, man. They lost to, I want to say, is it a Group of 5 or FCS team? And then Mike Gundy apparently started back coaching, and they're red hot. And they're running back last 5 weeks, leading all Division I in rushing. In the last 5 weeks, he added in, I want to say, another 271 this past weekend. It was like 177 the week before that. The dude is absolutely on a roll. So we'll see if he can keep it going against a good defense this week in Bedlam, man. That's going to really tell if he's out here really being that guy or if he was just playing some bad defenses. USC dropped out of my top 25 last week, but they are back up in here. May not be to the liking of a lot of Oklahoma fans, but they are back up in here. And Toledo holding strong as a G5, man, in the top 25, man. So let's go on to the next one, 16 through 20. Tulane, Fresno State, Notre Dame, LSU, and Missouri. Notre Dame dropped out briefly, but they are back in because they do have top 25 win on here. And not to mention some of those G5s that were one loss They actually lost again. So you already know how we do. Our formula doesn't count for G5 teams that are 2 losses or more. LSU steady climbing. I want to say they came in at about 21 last week. They're moving on up. Missouri is a top 20 team, man. Here in our poll, I think they're a little bit lower. They're a little bit lower in or higher, I should say, in the CFP. But we'll talk about that again. You got Penn State, Ole Miss, Oregon, Liberty, and look at Louisville. Louisville climbing the charts like a new pop singer. What you think about that Louisville team? They're dangerous at Homestead.
Yeah, I mean, they've been playing some good football, especially at the old Papa John's. I don't even know what they ended up changing it to, but they look really good playing at home in Louisville. Hey, they're gonna keep on climbing because I don't know if there's any competition on the rest of the schedule until they get to Charlotte.
Hey, that's right, man. And Louisville's a dangerous team at home. The thing is, like I say, it's going to be interesting to see if they can do that, get to Charlotte and play Florida State on a neutral field. That's assuming Florida State stays unscathed like that. So what's going on? Shawty in the building, man. Mars Jam is in the building. What's going on, my guy? All right, man, let's get to this top 10. All right, Shawty, just for you, Liberty dropped the spot this weekend. They got passed by a P5 one-loss team. Just for you, dog. Oh, what's going on, Mars? All right, so top 10, here we go. Top 10, 7 through 10 stays the same. You got Texas, Alabama, JMU, James Madison University for those that's keeping up at home, and Air Force. Air Force staying put. I will say the Air Force is in the Mountain West along with Fresno State. So if they both stay unbeaten, they will have to play each other. So that's going to take care of one of these group of fives right there. James Madison, I want to say they're in the Sun Belt, but they would end up having to play. There's another Sun Belt team, Georgia State. They play Georgia State this coming weekend. Georgia State was in the top 25 last week until they lost, but that's another team they got to play. Alabama and Texas holding strong, waiting for somebody in front of them to mess up stat guy.
Well, and both of them have huge games this weekend with Alabama going up against LSU and Texas facing Kansas State. So if they're not careful, they could find themselves moving in the wrong direction.
Big facts, big facts. I'm with Mars Jam on that, man. Georgia got homecoming against Missouri. And then you got that, like you say, Texas, Kansas State. For the Fanatic top 25, there's all kind of top 25 matchups this week. You know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and get into the top 6. Number 6, we got Oklahoma. I know people have been like, why is Oklahoma still in your top 6? They lost, yada, yada, yada. When you take into a consideration top 25 wins, they still beat Texas. You know what I'm saying? Their win against Texas is better than Texas's win against Alabama. That's how it should be. So OU at number 6. The Dogs move up one spot to number 5. I know it. We should let's see. He said Steve G already said, no disrespect, but OU is ranked too high. We lost to Kansas. I get it. We deserve lower, but listen, I get that you lost. You did lose. So if I was grading best loss, then maybe other teams could be higher than you. But if we're grading it, and my formula doesn't count for who has the better loss, it accounts for who has the better win according to top 25 wins. And you guys still have, when the formula kicked it out in Texas, and if y'all know what my human aspect says, if there's 2 teams that are neck and neck, the tie goes to the team that won that, and they played on the field. The team that won goes ahead. So that's the only reason why y'all are 6 and Texas is 7, because y'all beat Texas. So that's how that goes. Number 4 is Michigan. Michigan actually slid a spot down to number 4. Florida State at 3, and 1 and 2 held position with Washington and Ohio State. Stat guy, give me your thoughts on the top 6, dog.
Yeah, I mean, still shook that that you don't have Georgia in the top 1 or 2. But it's fine. Again, Ohio State, Michigan's going to play itself out. But man, Ohio State kind of got themselves a scare there for a little bit this past weekend. I mean,
it did.
Washington is starting to look beatable week in and week out. So I'm just excited to see the rest of the season play out, man. Those teams that we thought were untouchable have all of a sudden started to show their vulnerabilities, and it's going to make for an exciting final 4 weeks.
That's right. And so the playoff committee had Ohio State 1, Georgia 2, Michigan 3, Florida State was 4, Washington was 5, and Oregon was 6. So some people were saying what the data like let's see. Yeah. So let's just get to a couple of comments. So my mouse, come on, let's work here a little bit. All right. So Mike Wickles said, wasn't Texas ranked number 3 when we beat them? They were number 3, Mike, in the AP poll, but when y'all beat them, I hadn't done a rankings yet. I don't start my rankings till I like this. Like I say, this is my first year doing the rankings, and I've always thought you shouldn't start the rankings until at least everybody's at least played 6 games. It does count going forward, though. It's like I say, long y'all win, y'all got one of the best wins in my top 25. That's why y'all are staying. That along with what Steve B says, you beat Texas head to head, and that matters. I think it should matter. I get that people will be like, oh, well, that was the beginning of the season, and that was 2-3 weeks ago. At the end of the day, why are we playing the games if it doesn't matter? It came down to it once I took into account the top 25 wins. Texas and OU were neck and neck, and OU gets the nod because OU beat Texas. I saw it on the field. Can't do it. So neck and neck mean its schedule is compatible with each other. If that's the case, head to head should matter. Head to heads definitely. Head to heads definitely do matter in my, like I say. And then Shawty in agreement with the top 5. I get it. Like I say, there's an argument that somebody else could be number 6. But let's talk about that, stat guy. So the playoff committee has Oregon number 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I got OU number 6. What's the difference in those two teams? I know why I think they got Oregon number 6.
Oh, it's because they went to Utah and beat them like a drum.
No, I think it's because their loss is better than OU's loss. You see what I'm saying? Like OU and theirs, I want to say is 8, I think.
8th or 9th.
8th or 9th. Yeah. So my thing is, again, I told y'all my formula doesn't account for who's the better loss, because that can change weekly as well. Because right now, everybody's saying that in the CFP where they have Ohio State, then Georgia, then Michigan, then Florida State, that Florida State should be ahead of Michigan and Georgia. I don't disagree. I don't listen. It don't really matter to me, because that's not in my formula. But if we go to resume, which is what they want to do with Florida State, and they didn't do apparently with Michigan and Georgia, who's Florida State's best win? LSU.
Yeah.
LSU on the neutral field. Okay, so they have that one win. That is a better win than anything that Georgia has. I will say that. But outside of that, when you say resume, Clemson isn't a good win anymore. Clemson's a 4-loss team. We're watching Clemson lose to people that are. So are we still counting that as a good win for Florida State? Are we still counting Duke as a good win for Florida State? They're a 3-loss team now. So if we're counting, Duke and Clemson as good wins for Florida State, Kentucky and Florida are good wins for Georgia if I was going by that. But that's not how I'm going by it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just thinking that's how the CFP are going by it. So Steve B said in the CFP rankings, how is Michigan ahead of Washington? I'm with you, because what you say is like, because they said they talked resume with Ohio State is what everybody telling me. Listen, man, I was out watching Dave Chappelle last night. I didn't get to see the show. Shout out to Dave Chappelle for the good comedy show. But everybody's saying they talked about resume with Ohio State, but then they put Georgia and Michigan and then Florida State. And if you're going to go with resume, then, Florida State has beaten more Power 5 teams than Georgia. I will say that. Now, Michigan, that's what I'm saying. Michigan probably should be, I think 4 is right where Michigan deserves to be. I think you could definitely make a case that Georgia should be over Michigan. The point is, Michigan played some G5 teams, whereas I think Georgia, I want to say it was UT Martin, their FCS team. So I think that's kind of hurting Georgia. And Michigan's point per game in mine, their point per game margin, I want to say is a little bit better than Georgia. I think they're 1 and Georgia's 2. Mike says, I just feel in my bones and gut OU is going to show up and show out in Bedlam. Could be. That's what I'm saying. And Shawty says OU has the worst loss. That's true, they do. But OU, okay, so that's what I'm saying. So where do you find that? That and let's leave that up on here for a minute. Shawty says OU, and I know that's what whoever said it earlier about the one of the Steves. Which one? Let me see. Steve said one. Stephen G said the OU was ranked too, should be a little bit lower. I get that because if you look at it like that, Oregon has the better loss. They went to Washington, got beat narrowly by Washington. Okay. Then you got Utah. So they went to Utah and beat Utah. Is beating Utah a better win than beating Texas?
Probably not.
I don't think so.
But honestly, I think they're equal. Honestly, I mean, I don't think there's one better than the. I don't think there's a. I think it's a coin flip.
You saying that because of what we know Utah to be on a normal basis, or this year's Utah, who's the better team? Utah and Texas.
When they played them, so because obviously right now, if they play right now, I'm probably taking Utah with Quinn Ewers being out. But as far as when they played with Texas being healthy, I give that as the better win for Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, like Rice Eccles is a hard place, and they went in there and absolutely drugged them dudes. But again, Cam Rising wasn't playing, and I have to take that if I was doing it like that, I would have to take that in consideration. I know Kansas, that was definitely the worst loss in
Washington.
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't hold a candle to that one. So let's see.
Now I'm interested to see. I know it'll take into effect with yours. I'm interested to see what happens with theirs if we see some of these teams, like if Bama loses to LSU this weekend or if Texas loses to Kansas State and they take a tumble. I'm interested to see what it does for teams as far as their victories and how they're perceived. Like, is that Oklahoma victory still good if Texas drops another one?
No, well, in mine, it wouldn't be like, I mean, it's a top 25 win because I don't know if Texas would fall out of my top 25, but you still, you grade the top 25 wins as well. For instance, in the initial, when I come up with the 25 best teams, Ohio State, they beat Penn State. The first week, it was a win against the number 11 team or whatever. This time around, it was a win against the number 16 team. So somebody that has a better win to you because the team they beat is ranked higher than the team you beat. That changes week to week if your team doesn't continue to win. That's why I'm saying, like, it doesn't matter. Like, you can't tell me Florida State has a good win. You're talking Clemson because that's not a good win. Like, you can't say Clemson is a bad team and then call it a good win for Florida State. Can't, when it comes to the CFP, it's like, so like Florida State actually doesn't have any top 25 wins in my poll. You know what I'm saying? In the AP poll, they may talk about how they was ranked when they played them, but when I come up with my 25 best teams and I look over, I say Florida State hasn't beaten anybody in my top 25. And that's how it is. Ohio State has. Ohio State beat Notre Dame. And they beat. That's why I know, like, Ohio State is a clear runaway at number one for me. They have two top 25 wins in my poll, and nobody else does. That's it. Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you, Mike. I know you look. I don't think you should be outwardly saying, hook them or nothing like that. But you definitely want Texas. If you want to have any shot at the playoffs whatsoever, you have to want Texas to win out and then beat a one-loss Texas in the Big 12 championship, because then they only have two losses, and that would probably be two good wins. You beat an undefeated Texas, and then you beat a one-loss Texas. That's two more better wins than anybody pretty much outside of Ohio State, probably, unless Notre Dame, now if Notre Dame loses one, then that kind of takes a little steam away from theirs. Just like they could be hurt by Penn State if Penn State drops one to Michigan. Now Penn State drops a little bit further. If Notre Dame was to lose, I don't think they're losing to Clemson this weekend, but if Notre Dame loses to Clemson, Ohio State definitely doesn't want that. Ohio State wants Notre Dame to beat Clemson, because Clemson, we already know what we think about Clemson. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
They don't want, if Notre Dame loses to Clemson, now, no matter who beat them, that's still, to me, not a great win. Like, when you go somewhere, like, I remember when the Dogs beat Oregon at the beginning of 2022, everybody hyped it up. And then when we blasted them, they was like, well, Oregon's probably not that good. As Oregon kept winning, that win looked better and better and better and better. But if they went on to be like, 7-5, that win wouldn't have looked so good for Georgia. You know what I'm saying?
And then to that point, Oregon really did y'all a favor because they didn't just go win football games. They were hammering everybody in front of them like they had just got hammered. And so it's like, okay, man, Georgia's for real, for real.
Yeah, for real. Like Steve B, my kind of guy, dog. I ain't rooting for the rival. I don't care what that means for my season. I just think we need to win. It's like, I heard Heather Dennis say, oh, well, Georgia has, 3 top 25 wins that could, help them in the opinions of the committee. I don't care nothing about what the committee think. If Georgia go undefeated, guess what? They're in the playoffs. So just go undefeated and don't have to. I'm not putting it in the referee hands like we always say in basketball. Don't leave it in the referee hands. I'm with them. That's right, Mike. Never say hook 'em, dog. But yeah. But okay, share it with me, Mike. Yeah. So, but that's what but that's the truth of the matter. I don't care if you're talking about my poll or if you're talking about the CFP. What your opponents do after you beat them matters. You know what I'm saying? That matters.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. I mean, Kansas State, if they beat Texas this weekend, and win out, that would be a good win. That wouldn't be a bad game for Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship either. That I think would still help them out because that's probably going to be a top 17 to 15 type team, which could still kind of move the needle for them.
Yeah. So let's switch back here. And let's boom. All right. So there's our top 10 right there. We got Ohio State, Washington, FSU, Michigan, Georgia, OU, Texas, Bama, JMU, and Air Force. And then you got Louisville, Liberty, Oregon, Ole Miss, Penn State, Missouri, LSU, Notre Dame, Fresno State, Tulane. And then you got Toledo, USC, Oklahoma State, Kansas, and UNC. Like USC for the Trojans to keep winning, that win for Notre Dame, better and better and better. You know what I'm saying? But if they fall apart, like, some people, like some of us kind of believe they will because they still got to play Oregon and Washington. It's not going to be a great win for Notre Dame. You know what I'm saying? So Bumbo says better chance USC making the playoffs or me pulling a date with Taylor Swift. Have you ever played tight end in your life, Bumbo? Because if you played tight end, dog, it might be you getting a date with Taylor Swift.
Well, I mean, if you talk about the better chance, I mean, maybe he hits it with his car or something. I don't know. It's gotta be the date with T Swift because
I say that exactly. I say that, Bumbo, man, because it doesn't get any easier for you guys, man. You got Oregon and Washington at the house, dog, and I mean, one of them's at the house and one of them's on the road. That's not good news for your playoff chances. I just think if minimum, you're going to lose one of those games. I think there's a possibility that you lose both. I think if you win one, I think it's going to be the Washington game this weekend. That's this weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you're going to win one, it's going to be the Washington game because I just believe that overall, team-wise, Oregon is they're looking like a better team. We'll see. And the reason why I say this is because they got a little bit of a defense, whereas Washington still can let a lot of stuff go through. I just, I don't know. I think if you're going to beat somebody, you need to get it in this weekend. Beat Washington because I don't see you. Yeah, that Notre Dame loss, that really hurt. That hurt big time. So, and on top of the fact, dang, we can't get out. And on top of the fact that the wins that you guys have aren't over anybody. You know what I'm saying? I think your best win has to be Colorado, and they're 4-4.
UCLA.
Right?
UCLA is 5-3, I think.
Southern Cal beat UCLA.
Didn't they already play? Pretty sure.
They ain't played yet. You know what I'm saying? They ain't played yet.
Yeah, that Colorado game's their best win. Ugh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Let's look at the schedule, man. Let's pull up USC schedule and see what it looks like, Bumble. Hold on. All right. Let's see. Fox got that schedule and score. No, all right, here we go. Yeah, so they lost to Utah, then lost to Notre Dame. They beat Arizona, beat Colorado, beat Arizona State. Maybe Arizona's maybe they're your best win because Arizona's starting to really look good. But you still have God, why did they just show me the past games? Hold on. You still got Oregon, Washington, UCLA. God, you got a hard schedule, bro. So you just beat Cali. Good thing is you only got 3 games left because you guys played in week 0 and you took early. You get when you play week 0, you get 2 byes, and your second bye is the week before the conference championship. But to have any chance at even dreaming about a 2-loss team getting into the playoff, which hasn't happened yet. 2-loss team getting into the playoffs, you have to win out and win the. Okay, I agree, Bumbo. Arizona's probably, we're looking at it on field, Arizona's probably your best win. Just to be honest with you. Let's see. Let's say okay. So Oklahoma State, Oklahoma play this weekend. So let's look at the top 25, the Fanatic top 25 games this week, Jeff.
All right, Bedlam.
Oh, okay, so let's start with Bedlam. Just a quick overview, what you think might happen in Bedlam. So you got number 23 versus number 6.
Hey man, that kid Ollie been running wild. 3 straight weeks of Big 12 Player of the Week, looking to make it 4. And I've said all along, this could be the last Bedlam for a while. Mike Gundy gonna pull out all the stops to get the win to send them out of there and send them out of the Big 12 as losers.
He gonna do it. I don't know who gonna I don't know if I can really pick a winner right now. I think OU should win. I know it's gonna be a lot of energy for Oklahoma State, but sometimes that can actually backfire against you. You know what I'm saying? Once the juices, if the game doesn't start the way you want it to start, because if Oklahoma gets a fast start, I just don't see that run game being able to keep up with the Sooners. So you got 23 versus 6 in the Bedlam. Then you got 7 versus 24 in Texas versus Kansas State. What do you see happening in that game now that Ewers is out? I mean, Malik Murphy's playing pretty good, but Kansas State's a good team.
Kansas State's a good team. They play good defense in the Big 12. They run the ball well. I think that game's going to come down to the wire. I think it's going to be whoever makes a mistake in the fourth quarter. But I definitely don't see that being a 7 to 10 point game either way. I think somebody's going to win by a field goal late.
Mike Wilkins said, "OU going to shut Ollie down." They definitely going to focus on it. And Brent Venables has always been known for a heavy run game stopper. So that's going to be interesting. Immovable object meets unstoppable forces. Isn't that what they say? So then you got LSU Bama this weekend. What you got in LSU Bama?
Hey, the game for the West, right? I mean, I know
that's what it seems.
Yeah, I mean, Mississippi's trying to hang on, but they've already lost to Bama. So the West is pretty much up for grabs this weekend. And man, how great is it that this first weekend in November, that's the weekend they normally play. It's been a couple years since this game has been this meaningful. Yeah, I mean, so I think this could be an old-fashioned bloodbath. We might see something crazy like 2017.
Hey, how about this? You always like chaos in college football, right? Ole Miss is a 1-loss SEC team. Alabama's a 1-loss team that hasn't lost in SEC play. But if LSU beats them, all 3 of them will be 1-loss SEC teams. And it's a round robin because LSU would have beaten Alabama. Alabama would has already beaten Ole Miss, and Ole Miss beat LSU.
Yeah, that doesn't matter though, because Ole Miss still has to play Georgia. You ain't baiting me into that nonsense. Don't get out of here. Bama can go ahead and win this game and just knock LSU out. I'm fine with it. You ain't baiting me into that. Nope. You fine.
All right, so Cal's been looking better. It's not a ranked game, but Cal's been looking better. Oregon has to play him. I think Oregon absolutely shuts Cal down. They play Oregon at Oregon. I think they absolutely shut them down.
Yeah, that's going to be ugly.
Then you got Georgia and Mizzou in Athens. That's my number 5 versus my number 16, but I think it's the number 2 team versus the number 14 team in the playoff rankings.
Yeah, I hope y'all secondary is ready because Missouri can flat out throw it. Now the big thing, if y'all get pressure, it's over because they run a lot of deep stuff. They hit you with some wide receiver screens and stuff, but they try to kill you over the top with Luther and some of their other guys.
Yeah, they are not that great in pressure situations. They're giving up a lot of pressure, but they are good at the deep ball, like you said. The question is, can we stop this is the week where the quarterback actually runs the ball and runs the ball a lot, but Kirby knows that going in, so I'm assuming he's going to, I'm trusting that he's going to have a game plan for that. But Brady Cook in the run game and the pass game, you know what I'm saying? Because he's been good at passing the ball too. So the thing is, they haven't really done it against anybody, but they've done it. That's the point. You know what I'm saying? They lost to LSU. They beat Kentucky. They beat South Carolina. But outside of those are their two best wins, South Carolina and, you know what I'm saying? Oh, K-State. I'd say K-State with the 60-yard field goal. They did beat K-State at home. So
Now,
Mike says Bama by 10 versus LSU. Listen, Mars has been kind of spot on with these calls, bro. He's saying 49-19. Listen, Mars, when he's picking the Georgia game, bro, he don't be showing the other team no respect, dog. He said we're going to blast Florida, and we blasted Florida. So, you know, that's how it goes. Kentucky too, I think.
One thing for you to enjoy watching the Missouri game, watch their running back, the Division II transfer from St. Louis. That kid just runs. I like the way he plays. One guy's not bringing him down. He falls forward on every run. You'll enjoy watching him play football. He just plays the right way.
Right way. Steve B say 48-17. Mike says 48-10. And Mars says it, man. Like, you just trust what Georgia has, man. You know, you trust them to do what they have to do, regardless of the opponent that they are facing. Who does Penn State have this weekend? Let's see here. Because I think it's about time to be that Penn State Michigan. We're getting down in the weeks now. I know they don't play them right before they play Ohio State. This weekend is Penn State at Maryland. Maryland started out kind of hot, but they kind of been falling off here lately, man. What's going on? What you think with Penn State at Maryland?
I think Penn State's favored by like 18.5 in that game. I'm taking Maryland in the points. I know that, but I think
it's right. Listen, right before Michigan next week, so maybe they looking ahead to Michigan.
I think Penn State gets the win, but I don't know if they're covering that 18.5.
I got you. And then you got Michigan taking on man, I can't even make up nothing for this. They just they take it. They beating Purdue this weekend. Let's just say that. I can't even make up no headline for that one.
Next. Keeping it in the Big Ten, Ohio State has to travel to New Jersey to take on a 6-2 Rutgers team.
What's funny is I saw on Twitter today, somebody said when Michigan played Rutgers at the beginning of the season and absolutely wore them out, it was like they beat up on a bad Rutgers team. But then they said Ohio State has a big showdown with Rutgers. You know why? Because like I said, mindsets change as the season goes and depending on what the team does. Rutgers has only lost 2 games. That's why they're saying it's a big matchup. You know what I'm saying? So I think, listen, Mike Wilkinson said Penn State may be they calling a 1 touchdown game. I'm with y'all on that one.
I like it.
I like that for sure. I'm definitely taking that 18, man. Man, I saw some people talking about Lebby on Twitter today, Mars. Listen, I thought he was a pretty good guy. I mean, I don't know. We'll see if he can right the ship, man. You're gonna need it. Even if if you win out and you play Malik Murphy in the championship, I think you're definitely gonna need it. The good thing is the Texas staff will have to prepare for a totally. I ain't gonna say totally, not the Texas staff, but y'all will have to prepare for a totally different offense per se. But maybe Lebby doesn't have to be as great because while I think Malik Murphy is better overall than Quinn was a little bit more used to and familiar with that offense. So, that could help out. Let's just say that. I don't know what's going to happen with Lebby. I know he ain't going nowhere. I don't think so, but
Notre Dame goes to Death Valley.
Notre Dame goes to Death Valley. I expect that to be a Notre Dame game all the way. They're going to be really physical up front. Shipley got hurt last game, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't think he's playing this week.
He's still in protocol.
Yeah, not that I thought that would help. So, you know what I'm saying? Oregon takes on Cal, B. I know that's the game you've been watching. You've been waiting for. Cal at Outson Stadium, I think it is. Who else is up here? Florida State. I don't think Florida State, until the last game when they played, they still got Miami and Florida on the schedule. But this week, They're at Pitt. Thoughts on Pitt and Florida State, that guy?
Man, you know what's crazy? When we did our Florida State preview, this was the week that we circled that was like kind of upset a watch alert at Pitt. You know, like if that game's at night, Pitt plays defense. Man, Pitt got beat like a drum last week. I don't think anybody and their mama trusts Pitt right now.
All right. So this weekend we also have Washington at USC. Another top 25 matchup for both the Fanatic top 25 and that's a closer game than I was thinking. Mars is saying Oregon 35. I know it's still a beatdown. Cal 19. Cal's offense has looked better as of late. So what about USC taking on the Huskies at home?
You know, when we did our Washington preview, I said circle your calendar November the 4th. I felt this could decide the Heisman, and I'm looking for Michael Penix Jr. to have a huge game against USC and put his name back at the top of that list.
Yeah, and there were some people that says Caleb still has an outside shot to win the Heisman because their losses hasn't. I mean, now the Notre Dame maybe so, but the Utah loss wasn't his fault or whatever. But I ain't gonna say it was his fault at Notre Dame. But yeah, we got Mars Jam says, "Hey, Washington by 7. It's definitely gonna be a shootout." Listen, it's just for entertainment purposes, but if you are a gambling person, take the over on whatever that game is. I don't care if it's 75, 80, whatever it is, take the over. Washington got a monkey stone. Listen, I would tell you it's gonna be a lot of points. Road games are a problem in November. Listen, road games have been a problem in the Pac-12 period, not just in November, just all season. I think when Washington went to Arizona, they barely won. I want to say when Colorado being on the road, even when they're at home, they play better. Utah on the road, they went to Oregon State and lost. It's like when you're on the road, you have problems unless you're Oregon and you're playing at Rice Eccles. So, any other thoughts on the overall thoughts on the top 25, Jeff?
No, I mean I like it, and as far as to get it, I was excited to see Air Force sneak in at 25 on the college football playoff top 25. I thought that was cool that they slid in there, but no, I like it. I mean, like we've been saying for the last couple of weeks, there's still 4 weeks to go in the season. We're going to see things get shaken up as these teams play each other down the stretch, or as teams play other tougher competition within their conference. We're going to see a lot of moving and shaking these next couple of weeks with the games on the schedule.
That's right. I'm interested to see in the CFP rankings what happens in the G5 if JMU goes undefeated and Air Force goes undefeated. Again, Air Force will have had to beat Fresno State in the conference championship if they both stay where they are. I personally think JMU should be ranked higher because then Air Force, even in their poll, because JMU went to Virginia and beat Virginia. Air Force doesn't have any Power 5 wins at all, so they don't even have anybody on the schedule. So that's why I think JMU should be ranked higher because Virginia did beat North Carolina and who they beat last week. They beat somebody last week. They won 2 games in a row. So how about that for Virginia? All right, man. Go ahead.
I was going to say Virginia beat Georgia Tech, didn't they, or no? Who they beat? Somebody. Virginia beat somebody, man. It was
they won 2 games back to back because they started out like trash. And by the way, for the ACC people, Virginia Tech is still in the race, baby. I don't want to give it to Louisville, but Virginia Tech is still in the race. So they beat North Carolina, then lost to Miami, but they gave Miami a good battle. That's what it was. Yeah. UVA took Miami into, and then UVA still has to play Louisville. Louisville has to play Virginia Tech this weekend.
Yeah.
Somebody's getting out of the ACC race this weekend. They got to go to Lane Stadium. I'm sorry, I'm not Lane Stadium. It's at L&N Stadium in Louisville. Virginia Tech's going down.
Yeah,
look like we're about to get us a Virginia Tech, and I don't know. Virginia Tech still has to go to Miami. I mean, Louisville still has to go to Miami at the end of the season, so maybe Miami can get them and put somebody else back in the race. But it looks like we're headed for a Louisville, Florida State ACC matchup. ASU at Utah. Interesting. That is very interesting. Utah, again, normally solid at home, but it's still up in the air when you're talking about this year because of the Cam Rising situation. So Mars says, who plays at Arizona will beat UCLA. I can't even argue with that.
At Arizona, they've looked really good at home, knocking off Oregon State. They gave Washington all they wanted.
Yeah. So the 11 a.m. game, which is Central Time, which is 12 p.m. Eastern, is Kansas State at Texas, Texas A&M at Ole Miss, Wisconsin at Indiana. Just for my guy B. Shaw, I know he was waiting on that one. Just so you that's on the Big Ten Network, Ben. You got the scintillating UConn at Tennessee. Tennessee's wearing powder blue uniforms, if I'm not mistaken. I saw on Twitter in honor of the late great Pat Summitt. Arkansas at Florida. South Carolina, the Gamecocks taking on the Gamecocks, Jacksonville State. Hey, how you feeling, Stat? How you feeling?
So real quick, we lost the battle of the Carolinas. We lost the battle of the Columbias. Man, this is a pride thing. We're not losing the battle of the Gamecocks. It's all about pride. I'll be honest, I think we could see this be a game in the first half and us going to the locker room, biting our fingernails. But I think that Spencer Rattler pulls it out for us in the second half. But I do expect this to be a 3 to 7 point game going into the half, one way or the other.
Okay, and then to finish out that same slot, Mars, is Notre Dame at Clemson, Ohio State at Rutgers, and then you have the midday slot.
Bro, that 12 o'clock slot is loaded.
It is. It's Georgia's homecoming. Me and Ben Shaw will be there with our guy Stacey Derrico and the Tailgate Kings and the other Respect the Hedges guys. So, but they will have a screen out there. We're gonna get them. We're definitely gonna have to get them to get on one of these games. So, any parting thoughts before we get up out of here?
Hey man, it's been a while since that first weekend in November has thrown a punch like this. I'm excited that we're seeing this kind of weekend in college football across the board. It's going to be a day kick back on the couch with meaningful games from start to finish.
That's right, man. I'm with you on that one, man. So, hey, man, stay tuned next week. Next Tuesday is the College Football Playoff Committee top 25, and then tune back in next Wednesday at 9 for the Fanatic Top 25 installment number 4. And we'll see down the stretch if at the end, after conference title weekend, the CFP and the TFA top 25s match. We appreciate everybody joining in, man, and giving input. And everybody that's watching on Facebook or Twitter that's not putting in input, we still appreciate everything, man. And we'll be out of here, man. It's the Fanatic on Fanatic Sports Network, man. Peace.
Peace.
All right, man. We up out of here.